Good evening. So I think this is a very interesting topic to discuss, especially sitting in this place, Sargalaya, which is kind of an abode of creativity. First of the kind of project that Kerala Tourism has done, bringing in all the local artisans to a place and then, creating a livelihood for them. So I think we can go with the topic. So very interesting panel we have, musician, archaeologist and anthropologist. Then we have an architect, then myself from tourism industry. Culture is a very important topic. So I was just reading about what UNESCO is speaking about culture. So the numbers are very interesting. 50 million jobs are created in culture and creative industry every year. And 80% of world's diversity is conserved by indigenous community. So shows how important local communities for preserving culture. And when we say that the creative and culture industry, again, we look at the gender, this thing, almost 50% of the jobs are done by the women. So that's very interesting about the culture and experience that we want to speak about. So I think, sir, let's start with the musician. Music is a very interesting topic. So one thing that from my personal experience, when we look at Indian music, recently, I think a few years ago, then this music, that Gotilo song from Kalasi, Gujarati community song, it became viral. That is the first time I came to know that Gujarati folklore is very vibrant. So how Indian music creates an identity for the culture? That topic.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, music, arts, dances, everything which is part of the big Indian culture, and it's varied and it's vibrant in all parts of India. It plays a very important part as far as the cultural experiences are concerned, as far as sustainable and responsible tourism is concerned. I would like to say something from the point of view of an artist. I'm an artist. Artists of various areas, they put hours in a day, many days in a week, many weeks in a month, and subsequently many weeks in a year, and many, many years to hone that craft. And then what do they require? They require an audience to showcase what they do. And whenever I'm not talking about the August company here, we're talking about people who are responsible, who organize things responsibly. But in many places which I've seen, these artists are a fitment on the wall, They are made to sit in one corner or stand in one corner. People eat, drink, they're performing. हमारे egos बहुत छोटे नहीं हैं, हमारे egos बहुत बड़े हैं. We get hurt very easily. And I have seen this angst in many of these artists, where they start questioning themselves that, is it what we were meant to do? Is this what we were meant to do? Is this how my art and my expression and my so-called living expression is going to be appreciated by an audience who don't give a damn to what I'm doing? And I have seen this many times, and it happens. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll be very happy if I'm corrected here. And I think it's a responsibility of people organizing these experiences for so-called discernible audience to also educate these people as to what to do and what not to do. When you're listening to somebody or when you're seeing some craftsperson showing you something, spend some time. It just helps them feel a sense of pride in what they do. I come from a region which is Kumaon, okay? I Anyway, I'm a non-resident Kumaoni. I was born and brought up in Delhi. But yes, I have heard my grandmothers singing compositions which today are no longer there. They were never propagated. Because who would listen to them? आज तो वही होता है ना कि everybody wants ढचका जगह ढचक. Everybody wants to dance, make that 1 minute reel and put it on their Instagram page. You need to understand that everything is not balle balle. You have to sit down and appreciate that fact as well. And this has to be drilled into people who organize these and the people who are coming for these. I think I've taken a lot of time. And
I think, sir, rightly said, because when you're experiencing culture, we need to respect the performer. That's very right. Because, like you said, this is something which is acquired over the time. A lot of hard work is into, creating, making that talent into something like a performing art. So I think very valid point that in responsible tourism, even when we are going to create a cultural policy, I guess this do's and don'ts of how enjoying this cultural performance is, very important in this.
No, my contention is very simple. Create a space for them. Let them be seen, heard properly. There should not just be a background music or a background sequence or a scene at the back. They are very much part of that entire living heritage of that particular place. That needs to be appreciated. That's all I'm saying.
Rightly said, sir. One more question to you. Since you have been from a very traditional family of musicians and you are into contemporary band, so how do you balance the traditional music and with the modern, kind of how the music has evolved? Then how do you balance that into the new age?
If you've heard our music, it is a balance of, it's a mix of folk and modern, as you say. This is something that comes out very naturally. And I think we don't aim to be ultra modern. We aim to be what we are, and we sing what we want to do, and we present what appeals to our heart first.
Sir, one more thing. That's just regarding the music part of it. See, like you rightly said, we have a lot of traditional music in India. We are very diverse in culture. Every nook and corner has something or different for us to listen. And music is something beyond language. You easily understand a music. You don't have to speak or understand the language, but you will understand the music. So it also connects people. Like a very peaceful music can actually connect the cultures. Yes. So what is that we have to do? Like you said, we have not done much on discovering the traditional music and creating kind of a repository about what are the traditional musics. So even when I was checking, we don't have much of even museums on musical this thing. So what is your take on it? What is that we have to do?
No, it's important for the state to honor its artists. हिंदी में कहा जाता है कि भूखे पेट भजन भयना गोपाला. How will then artists survive if that artist doesn't have the means to survive? You don't give them anything. You don't give them a platform. There is, in my area, there is a blind singer called Santram. Abject poverty. He doesn't have any patrons. No one calls him. And he's a brilliant singer. And he comes from a tradition of these balladeers and bards. He has so much to offer. These songs will die with him. These traditions will die with him. There's no one to take it forward. And I think that kind of an apathy is seen in not just my area. I think it's seen in very many parts of India. Because you take them for granted. अरे एक folk singer है यार, चलो इसको खड़ा करके गाना गवा देते हैं. That's not what is to be done.
Sir, one good example that I think Kerala has put forward is that we have this Onam state celebrations happening every year. That's a 7-day festival that happens across the Kerala. And I'll tell you, government has taken very strong steps to include a lot of local performances. So I've seen that even a folklore artist from a very local village will easily earn somewhere around 25 to 35,000.
Brilliant.
Every performance. And I think by that 7-day period, she might be well earning like 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees. So that is across like hundreds of stages across the state. And that is a kind of policy implementation that Kerala tourism is doing in terms of reviving this local artists. I think that is one of the examples where maybe I can talk to the rest of the crowd.
Kerala is doing fantastic job as far as responsible tourism is concerned in general.
Yes.
So I mean, I appreciate, and I've seen the kind of the way you have got the artists to perform for us and certain areas, and it's brilliant.
Yeah. So coming to Aishwarya ma'am, just regarding the architecture part of it. So we have seen that a lot of youngsters are interested in architecture. We need something old-fashioned in our homes because we love that old interior, some kind of nostalgia that comes out of it. But beyond this nostalgia, I think what is heritage has to do in architecture? What is the importance? Like I'm saying that in the current context, there is a lot of climatic changes. So in Kerala also, people nowadays say that, the old age homes are better than the concrete buildings. They were much cooler and, breathing space. So I'll tell you a very simple example. The college which I used to study is a British bungalow, residency bungalow. And it is like 100 years plus old. Very nice, airy classrooms, very sweet place. I think 6 of our classmates are married to the same class. One of them is here. So, such a nice environment we had. So, what I'm saying is that we are missing that kind of good places, positive energy places. So, what is beyond nostalgia? What does heritage has to play scientifically also into architecture?
If we look at heritage as a commodity, it's nothing more than just making you feel good. But actually, heritage has lessons, and anything that what we do with it, it's not what we have, it's what we do with it today, and how is it going to make our future better. It's not something just to put into a showcase and say, this is how we lived. There were sensible lessons in that, some of which may not be relevant, some of which are relevant, some of which can be reimagined. So I think the point really is to look at what tradition has given us and how can we use that in today's changed context. For example, a lot of people, nostalgia is a double-edged sword, right? Because when you look at the past and you sort of look at it from a very romantic lens, you sort of forget everything that was bad with it and you start imagining this really rose-tinted version of the past. But that's not true. There were some problems with the past. That is why things have evolved in a certain way. Yes, so when we look at what existed, what was working and what was not, and then use that with the use of technology, with the use of contemporary knowledge to make that into the future. For example, a lot of people say, mud houses were better, let's just make them. But with climate change, with the kind of environment that has changed, if you try to make mud bricks with the people who are experts in that will tell you that it's not the same quality. And so you don't get the same kind of effect. Plus, with very high levels of precipitation that we are getting because of climate change, things are not working the way they had worked for years and years. So we need to intervene now. We need to use our brains. We need to use our technology. And yet we have to use our traditional wisdom to make sense of the past. So I think the point today is how do we make sense of our past to pave way for our future, and not just look at past in a very romantic sort of way. Heritage is not about what happened in the past or who lived. It's about the people now, and it's about the people who are going to come in the future. And only those things which remain relevant carry on. Otherwise, things just get dropped off if they stop remaining relevant.
Right, ma'am. I think Kurush sir can add to it because you being a very senior historian archaeologist, what view we have to learn from our past civilizations about sustainability and because I've seen that in Harappan civilization or the older civilizations they had planned cities. So what is something that we can learn from our past that can be implemented in the modern world?
So we've got 3-4 hours, right, to do this? Because that's the question he's asking me. So I warned Sonali that this would happen, but she didn't believe me. Okay, so to make it really fast, we had a glorious past. We screwed up. Instead of going on and on about the glorious past, what we just simply need to do is answer some very simple questions and face some very simple truths. Everybody in this audience is going to hate me. So I'll lay it down now. Is sustainability even sustainable? This is the question we need to ask. You know, when you were talking about that beautiful school you went to, remember it was the British Residency. Yeah. The beautiful bungalows that we're talking about in Kerala were made by very rich people. They cut down a lot of trees to do it. Now, if we want to give the same kind of house to everybody, we have to cut down every forest in Kerala to do so. And nobody could afford those houses, right? So sustainability is a very, very slippery slope. If you want to relive the past and be sustainable, this is not going to happen. If you want to be sustainable, it has to be a brand new start. The other question that nobody wants to talk about, the white elephant in the room, is our population. Our numbers are way out of control. Way, way out of control. We cannot properly feed the people we have in this country. We are an agricultural nation. Food is an agricultural action, whether you like it or you don't. We eat surplus. Farm surplus is what we eat. After the farmer has grown what the farmer needs to grow for himself and his family, herself and her family, then what is left over is sold to us. Farmers can live without cities, if they have to. Cities cannot live without farmers. 2055, we will have 10 billion people on this planet. And our contribution as Indians is really huge to that. You know, we have now surpassed China in our numbers. It's not something to be proud about. We should be scared, very scared. We can barely feed the people we have just now. And climate change, as was being told to us by Aishwarya, is a very, very real thing. We're suffering from that every year. This year, La Nina has just ruined agriculture all across India. Punjab has gone underwater. Himachal is kind of sliding down into the sea, okay? Well, via the rivers, but on the way there. And, I mean, you know, every time they tell you, we've had a normal monsoon. It's just normal in the millimeters of rain. It's not normal about when it came and how much came, right? So these are critical questions we need to ask. And we are not asking these questions. We're talking about sustainability within what we have. We are not looking at sustainability in the future. I know this is all doom and gloom sounding. Kerala is one of those few places that's shown us that change is possible. And we seriously need to start talking about our population numbers. We seriously need to start talking about really educating our children. Let me ask you a simple question. How many of you all can go for a week without eating? Anybody want to put their hands up? Without what? Without eating. Right? Nobody. Do we teach food in school? Even in Kerala, I'm sorry, to all my Keralan friends here, do we teach food in school? No, we don't. We take it for granted. Do we teach music in school? No. Music is not a school curriculum topic. Extra curriculum. Why? Why is dance, drama, music, what we call culture, not part of our school curriculum? I'm an archaeologist. And my wife is an archaeologist. And when she was doing her master's in archaeology, somebody asked her mother what she was doing. And a very educated woman said, oh, she's doing some architecture or something in Pune. With due respect to architects. Okay? So, you know, this is the problem that we have in our country. I mean, I'm so grateful to Nat Geo and Discovery for making archaeologist a real word in this country. Yeah, but where are the jobs? I mean, we keep saying we've got shit tons of archaeological heritage, and in the past we did this, and in the past we did that, and we have this amazing site called Muziris, you know, which the site of Pattanam we believe was the Muziris of the Muziris papyrus. And do we have a museum at Muziris? We have 3 separate excavations.
We have not a complete museum. Like,
Yes, we have 3 separate excavations, and each team is holding on to their data, and each team is holding on to their artifacts. Why? I mean, there must be policy for these kinds of things. And the government needs to wake up and smell the shit, not the roses. We need to reshape our curriculum if we want sustainability. There is no sustainability if we do not reshape our curriculum.
I think, sir, that's a very important point because sustainability is something which has to be practiced from school level, which very rightly said. And one thing that Kerala has taken change is that in Kerala, when it comes to implementing responsible tourism, we started doing that activity right from panchayats because that LSGDs, because they are the people directly involved with people there. So Artimission Rubesh is here because his journey itself is an example of how Kerala has transformed. Because I remember I was a student when he was agitating in Kumbragam for, saying no, we don't want tourists. From there, now he is heading the state responsible tourism mission. I think that is what Kerala has done. So we have such people who are heading and transforming, who understands local people from the very ground level. That is grass.
We are at Sargalaya just now,
Yeah.
and we are using glass bottles. We are using glasses. I mean, imagine saying glasses instead of plastic glasses and paper cups. I mean, just imagine that. And we can do it. It's not impossible, right? I grew up with cold drink bottles all being glass. And you look forward to collecting cold drink bottles and giving them back for the deposit so you could buy ice cream. I mean, that was the fun stuff that we did. Why do we not insist that all our cold drinks are packaged in glass? Sargalaya has no plastic that I can see around it, but yesterday morning at breakfast, we were standing by the waterside and watching everybody go off in a boat, and there were 4 Bisleri bottles bobbing around in the backwaters. And this is one of the cleanest states you have. Let's be very honest about that. Come to North India, come to Central India, tourism is all about Bisleri bottles, Lay's packets, Maggi noodles packets, and that kind of garbage. And we are promised that this is all recyclable, when it's not. I mean, Lay's packets are not recyclable. I mean, not Lay's, Uncle Chips is not recyclable either, and neither is Maggi noodles packets. Why are we not taking some of the hard steps that we have to be truly sustainable? Is it impossible for a government to say Coca-Cola, Pepsi, etc. will no longer bottle in plastic? Finish.
So rightly said, because one thing is that I think our budgeting and everything is revolving, like someone had spoken about infrastructure development. But beyond infrastructure, I think we need to start considering the invisible burdens around it. Like, the water resources, the waste management. Such things has to be part of the budgeting itself. I think that is where LSGDs now we are involving. We are constantly talking to them to involve these things into their budgets, saying that when tourism is coming into play, these things are going to get hurt because someone having 10 people living in a village, suddenly it becomes 100 tourists coming into that place, then automatically the resource crunch is going to happen and the capacity is not built for it.
It's like in the morning we were talking and we talked about toilets. Indian men do not know how to keep toilets clean. And I'm being very pointed, Indian men, okay? We just can't keep our toilets clean. We just can't maintain clean toilets. Women, when they're traveling, stop drinking water because they don't know whether there'll be a clean toilet to use. I mean, how despicable is that? How downright despicable is that? That half the population has to wonder whether they can drink water. I mean, this is just something so basic, it's not funny. And the same people will go abroad and use the facilities there and talk about how beautiful they are here when they're actually responsible for screwing up the facilities here. And you can't have flush toilets everywhere. In Ladakh, you need dry toilets. But the UN says you have to have a flush toilet. So Ladakh Palace, Leh Palace has a flush toilet with no water. So it's kept locked. Because UNESCO rules meant it had to have a toilet. It has a toilet. The entrance had to have a ramp. So this is a 45-degree ramp because that's all the space there is. And 6 feet after the ramp is a staircase. So after I push you up that impossible push, you can't go more than 6 feet further. I mean, this is the kind of ridiculousness that we have to deal with. And this is the UN. Forget about blaming anybody else about it.
I think you rightly said that, it is right time that, you should recommend to UN to change all these terms and coin for
We
tourism.
need to get real.
Really expired, yeah.
But if our own ship is not in shape, who are we to tell the UN what to do?
That's right.
Sorry, I'm monopolizing the conversation.
I just wanted to say that you asked me earlier about why people are building the way they are, because it's about fashion. At this moment, sustainability is the buzzword and everybody wants to recycle, reuse. 10 years ago, glass and steel buildings was the buzzword. Before that, there was something else. So as fashion will change, as trends will change, people build as per that. So today, if you ask a young architect what they want to do, they want to build a green building because that is what the fashion is today. But the point is that I think we have to learn to be beyond trends and build responsibly. Responsibly meaning responsible to climate, culture, and environment.
I think
And
that
that's
is
something.
responsible to us.
And that's something, and cost. I think also cost, because just because you have money doesn't mean you should spend it. And just because you have money doesn't mean you have to build the world's most extravagant house and, import things from Italy and all of that because you can. So I think that's really.
World's biggest statue. It's very important for us.
So that's the point. It's really about deciding how much is enough.
You know, that's I think it really.
I grew up with 12 people in a household, and we had 2 toilets, and they were not attached. And we did very well. Everybody went to school on time and work on time. Right? Do we have to have only attached toilets in a 4-bedroom hall kitchen with another one for guests? I mean, these are questions that we need to start asking ourselves.
A lot of people are just demolishing old houses because they think they are not fit for habitation anymore. And that's what's actually causing a lot of environmental damage, because the Malba, what do you do with the Malba? You demolish an old house and you put in its place some dirty building that will again not last more than 30, 40 years. So that's how, this fashion impacts what you build, and also all the hill slopes coming down. The urbanization that is mindless. Everything is linked to each other. And I think the important question is for us to ask, what do we want for ourselves collectively? And when can we stop with the greed? Because at the end of the day, it's all about, I want more and more and more.
There is no ending to wanting more. I think, sir, one thing that we spoke about, reels and all these things. One thing I want to ask you is that, this, culture content making, like, the documentaries and the films and stuff like that, that's a $2.7 billion in business. But then in India, we still got, like you said, a lot of culture and, this thing, but then we have not tapped into that market. So what is that, we need to, strategize?
No, it's making a reel is very different from making a film, okay?
Yeah.
Making a film involves a lot of money. We don't have it. We don't have organizations which support you. It's very rare to find somebody who says, okay, fine, this is the money, this is a cause, this is something important, make a film. It never happens.
Sir, one thing is there, I just want to highlight that in Kerala, we have actually kept fund for, newcomers into film industry, supporting them with the fund for, creating
Kerala
films.
is a different world. Please try and understand that.
Don't compare Kerala. Yeah, it's a different country. God's own, remember? God's forgotten the rest of India. But jokes aside, a lot of people in this room probably will not understand how empowering a reel is. Because a little kid in a little village in the middle of nowhere with one solar platform to charge the entire village's phones can have a presence, an international presence in media by creating one reel. So the empowerment of the 30-second and 1-minute reel is also in its place. And the way social media has been pushing tourism, and yes, responsible tourism also. It all depends on where you channel it. So a lot of tourism is hugely promoted by social media, because what do you see on social media? Food and travel. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And then, of course, political bickering. That's the third thing, right? So if food and travel are the 2 biggest things, then we should really be making the most of it.
Really, because sir, one thing, even if you look at, we say about Africa as a dark continent, but then the content creators out of Africa is making huge money from this segment. So I think, as you said, there is also a segment which is growing because of this, reels and all this stuff.
I'm not disputing that. You were laying a distinction between making a reel and
Yeah.
making a film. Mockumentaries and
That's two
documentaries
different
are a different world in itself, So there is a difference between the two styles.
I was talking about one content, that the digital content making is kind of a revenue creation for this kind of, people who are located remotely. So traditional art forms and stuff like that has come out because of that digital content making. So how?
Traditional art form has not come out just because of that. Please try and understand. This is a misnomer. Traditional art form had a place.
Yeah.
It has just found a little edge there. And that's a little edge.
And reachability is like improved, yeah.
But then the problem comes when these people whom you are making films on or showcasing on a social media platform, are they getting their due? Never is the case.
And
So see, the other problem is it's all Maggie noodles. It's all 2-minute nirvana. That's what it ultimately is. You got pre-cooked atta that is being squeezed out and dehydrated. By the way, the Maggie noodles in your Maggie noodle packet can be eaten straight up. They're already cooked. That's why you can put it together in 2 minutes. So if everything can be 2-minute Maggie noodles, why do we need to cook? Why make a sadhya? Just feed them a large bowl of Maggie noodles, right? Because so much trouble goes into it. Never mind that. So, no, it's a very basic thing. It's exactly like what he's saying. What happens to the long form of the art? Right. The long form of art dies in the face of 1 minute and 2-minute visibility.
No, I mean, I'll really like to add to this because I'll cite a small example. I'd gone to Delhi Haat some time back with my sister who would come in. And there were these manganiyars sitting on the steps in a corner, not doing anything. The audience, the people were walking around, people buying food, people buying clothes, and moving around. They were just there. They were a fixture that nobody cared about. I went up to them, I asked them, where are you from? They said, Barmer. And I said, Manganiyar? He says, yes. And then I asked him a simple question. I said, will you sing Mumald for me? Mumald is a very, very famous folk tale of Rajasthan. Even Rajasthanis don't know about it now. Because it has been forgotten. Nobody listens to it. It is happening in my... That man had tears in his eyes. He clutched all of my hand. He says, Saab, baitho, main sunata hu. They need to be heard. That is what I'm saying. They need to be seen. And somebody has to have some kind of a policy in place, the people and the people with the powers that be, to make sure that they get their place in the sun. They don't. And it's happened to my state. In Kumaon, these artists are forgotten. Their lyrics are forgotten. Their compositions are forgotten. What is popular today is Gulabi Sharara. It's not Kumaoni, damn it.
It's better than Lollipop Lagelu.
Exactly.
So in any case, guys, what he's saying is completely right. It's education. If we don't educate our kids and tell them what the options are, they won't know what options to look for, right? Why will they look for these live options? Why will they look for all these heritage and traditions? They will only have the 30-second reel to look at.
Change the curriculum. Add it.
Yeah, I think that is the thing, yes. Now you want to add something? So I think we can conclude. I think change the curriculum. That is the, tag word. Thank you.